Good morning, friends. Pawpaw here with another episode of Slinging Wrenches with Pawpaw. And today we're going to be working on this 2011 Audi A4. Now, it's got a 2.0 in it. Got a common problem with this car is a cylinder misfire. Now, I had this car in the shop here a couple weeks ago. The same issue, the EPC light was on and had multiple cylinder misfires. Pulled all the plugs to check the compression, and a couple of the plugs were just really bad. Number 2 especially. You can tell it's been burning some oil. The person that brought it was complaining of oil consumption, you know, typical Audi 2.0. So we changed the plugs, put everything back together, and the car ran great. Now here we are about 3 weeks later, doing the same thing again. We know the compression's good. I did a compression test last time. Coil packs are good. We moved those around. The misfire didn't move. Spark plugs are brand new. So today we're going to be taking off this intake here and looking for carbon buildup. See how bad it is, and I'm just going to go ahead and bet it's going to be pretty bad because this car's got 100,000 miles on it and it's an oil sucker. So let's get to work. Alright guys, so before I started taking this apart, I got to thinking probably need to check the PCV valve right here. So I took this cap off. Man, it was all gunked up. Cleaned it out real good. I still don't think that's the problem, but we're gonna go ahead and start taking this apart. I'm gonna put you on time-lapse mode because it's just pretty basic, you know. Undo all the plugs, undo brackets, undo hoses, undo anything associated with being connected to the intake, and get it out of there. So we'll get back to you. Okay guys, we got the intake off. It wasn't too bad. I'm going to say the probably the part I had the most trouble with was getting this green plug off of the bracket it was in on the intake. The rest wasn't too bad. But we got some don't know if you're even gonna be able to see this, but this is pretty bad. Pretty bad carbon buildup in there. Pretty bad. I could really show you a close-up because I know you can't see it like I can see it, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty thick in there. So hopefully this is gonna help this car out. I mean, it can't hurt none. And we'll get all this carbon cleaned up and we'll go from there. See what it does. Get to work. Well, alright guys, I got a couple of them clean. I'll show you the difference here. Can't really get the light on there with the camera in the way, but you can tell it definitely looks a lot better than that. And that one there was actually probably the cleanest one. This number 1 was the worst. Number 2 pretty good. Still got to do number 3 and 4. So get back to work. Okay guys, so I got 1, 2, and 3 done now. Those are all closed. All the valves are closed in 1, 2, and 3. Can't do 4 yet because the valves are still open. We don't want all that trash going down into the cylinder, so I'm going to have to turn the motor over by hand a little bit and get those valves closed, and then we'll start working on that one. Let's get at it. Okay guys, we got all of them cleaned out. They're looking a lot better than they were, for sure. I think that's going to be, I mean, that's plenty good. No more built up carbon everywhere. Tons better. Alright, so got an intake gasket ordered at the parts house. Still got about an hour before I can pick that up, so guess I'm gonna take a little break, and I'll get back to y'all when I get the part. Okay guys, so while I'm waiting for this part to come in, I forgot I had to clean up these intake runner dividers. They were pretty crusty with carbon buildup, so I got them all cleaned up. And a little tip, this is what I use to clean inside of the intake runners on the head, around the valves and stuff. It's just a bunch of zip ties. I cut off the big end of the zip ties and stuck a bunch of them in the drill here, and it works wonders. It's a handy little tip right there. All right, we'll wait for this gasket and we'll get back at it. All right guys, just got back from getting the intake gasket. Got my intake just set on here right now. Don't forget to plug in that little dude right back in here. This little plug right there before you start putting the intake on. You're gonna have a fun time getting to it. Let's see. We get to run this plug right here back up through the intake. Let me set you down. Okay, got that one there. Alright, so this is going to be, you know the drill, it's going to be right the opposite of taking it apart. Just put everything back together the way you took it apart. Double check, triple check. Let's get to it. guys, we got it all back together. Started it up. And guess what? Still had a cylinder 1 misfire. So, took all the plugs back out again and noticed that number 1 plug looked just a little bit worse than the rest of them. Now these plugs are only 2 weeks old. I just put them in, probably actually 4 weeks old. Put them in about a month ago. And so that was really the last thing on my mind. But I moved number 1 back to number 3 and fired it up again, and my misfire moved to cylinder 3, so it was the plugs this whole time. Now, I mean, it did need a good carbon cleaning, but apparently it's burning more oil than we thought, and it fouled number 1 out. So I burned all the crud off spark plug, put it back in, the car runs just smooth. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to we're gonna step up the heat range on the plugs. We're gonna go to BKR 6. Right now it's got 7s in it, just to get him by until he gets a motor. I think he's planning on looking for a motor for this car, so. This car hasn't had the upgraded pistons and rings put in it. So that's the cause for the oil consumption. I guess they were a little late on the warranty work. So we'll be looking for a new remanufactured motor that has the upgrade in it, and possibly swapping this one out in the near future. Alright, well, that's going to conclude this episode. Slinging wrenches with Pawpaw. It's been a rough day. I'm going to head in the house and relax. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Pawpaw out.